School boards across the state are now bracing for what one official is calling an insurance nightmare. This is in the wake of Kenton schools reaching a huge child abuse settlement.
Kenton has agreed to pay more than $17 million to 35 former students. News 4's Al Vauders has more on this from the newsroom. Al?
Well, Jackie and Don, keep in mind, all of the former students are now adults, and their claims of abuse go back as far as 50 years ago. Kenmore, Tonawanda school officials decided to settle because of the potential cost if they didn't, and they have no insurance to cover it. All 35 lawsuits were aimed at one man, Arthur Werner, a fifth-grade teacher at Herbert Hoover Elementary, who was accused of groping and molesting boys, sometimes right out in the open. In a previous interview, attorney Chris O'Brien, who represents most of the plaintiffs, told News 4,
they would be called to the front of the room to be disciplined, or the class would be given a reading assignment, and one of them would be called to the front of the room and he would put that boy on his lap.
An attorney for the state's school boards told us schools across New York are ill-equipped to cover these lawsuits. Ironic, since very few school officials from those times are still around.
About 90% of the districts that have been involved do not have insurance for these, either because these claims were not part of the policy at that time, or worse yet, what we're seeing is that those insurance companies that existed way back then don't exist anymore.
Kenton officials released a statement to News 4 saying they hired an insurance specialist who was unable to identify any available insurance coverage for these lawsuits. As a result, the district is solely responsible for covering the cost of these 35 trials, as well as any settlement or jury award. Further, an investigation revealed former administrators unanimously testified that they did not have any knowledge of misconduct by Arthur Werner, and if they had known, they would have taken immediate action against it. So how do schools pay for these lawsuits?
None of those things would sit well with taxpayers, right? They don't want to pay more in their tax dollars, but they certainly don't want to have an educational system that doesn't serve children as well.
Now, Verona told us school officials across New York have been appealing to state lawmakers, even former Governor Cuomo, to set up a state fund to help districts defray the cost of these lawsuits. But so far, they're getting very little traction. Al Vauders, News 4.